Certain people are graced with a sense of spirit, a connection to their spirit that a lot of us don't have, even though we try, you know? And they are the ones that you want to protect.
And Sonny and Cherie were kind of like my mom and my dad.
He just seemed very genuine, and you didn't have to really worry about him, you know? You didn't have to wonder what he wanted or what was his ulterior motive or anything like that. He was just a really sweet boy and just kind of there to absorb whatever he could absorb, just like he was looking at everything and kind of learning about everything.
When we played the Toronto Pop Festival, Rodney was actually the backstage. He was the caterer. And he had brought out wonderful East Coast shrimp, just a beautiful thing of shrimp. And of course, since the Beatles were more famous than the Doors, he of course invited the Beatles to eat first. And they filled themselves, and their gaping maws were stuffed with shrimp. Beautiful, beautiful East Coast shrimp. And then there were just a few left, and then they came over and knocked on our door and said, there's food in the other room if you guys would like. I said, well, yeah, man, God, you know. And I went into this other room, and here's this huge plate, you know, with
two shrimp.
two shrimp on it. It was like as big as this table. There was one here and one over here. And I said, Rodney, that's it? He said, well, you know, the Beatles come first, Ray. Oh, man.
This is what we came for, really.
I couldn't even eat the shrimp, let alone meet the Beatles.
I heard asking Jim if, you know, were you able to see Lennon? You know, did you meet Lennon? He said, nobody met Lennon.
That's right.
He said, we weren't even allowed to stand on the side of the stage.
He was in villains and a He was in villains. He was in villains. He was in villains. He was in villains.
Rodney, you are mayor of the Sunset Strip. I was king, well, mayor first. I let Rodney have it. He got a lot of mileage out of being mayor of the Sunset Strip. I didn't need it. I could always reclaim it. Rodney, be careful.
And I remember meeting him at Ben Frank's parking lot. I go, your name is on the Popsicles and Icicles record. You produced it. He goes, I'm a genius. I produce a lot of music. I've done so much. He was whole Kim Fowley rap.
And he was actually quite a decent songwriter.
He was the voice on Alley Oop. And then also the rumor was that he did the Coming to Take Me Away, ha-ha, he.
He did the English version
of
that.
Did he really?
Ha-ha, they're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha, to the funny farm where life is beautiful all the time and I'll be...
He was very off the wall, and he didn't conform to anybody's rules, or he had no rules at all.
You thought it was a joke, and so you laughed when I...
Kim Fowley, Rodney, the GTOs. There needed to be some reference point. There was a certain social hierarchy there, and they were the head of it.
Whatever happened to the Stone Ponies?
We decided we had to eat.
That's a good idea. First started out working at Capitol Records, working for Linda Ronstadt. I was getting in all the teen magazines. And then I went over to Mercury Records and started handling Rod Stewart. I used to take David Bowie around town. I was trying to get him signed to label.
Bowie must have had a hard time at that time getting played on the radio.
Yeah, and they'd be like, listening at the door, Rodney's in the lobby with this weirdo with a dress on. They used to send me demos, remember? You used to call
Yeah, I'd like them back, please. They're now extremely valuable.
Yeah.
Well, I'm knowing you. No, I'm sure you haven't put them in auction.
No,
have you, Rodney?
No, I still got them.
Rodney! Rodney! The tank's running out! They send my friends away to mansions gold and grey on the far side of...
Here's a guy who brought David Bowie, Ziggy Stardust, to the Hollywood glitterati. He introduced Bowie to the town.
Welcome to London. Johnny's. They were playing all this like great music in London, like T-Rex and Slade and Mott the Hoople and the Sweet. You hear all these bands like in these clubs, and David Bowie said, well, you should do a club like this in L.A., Rodney. And I go, okay, I did. So I came to L.A. and we put together the English disco.
That's when I started to know Rodney. And he knew more about English bands than I did, I think.
He'd bring their records and test pressings before anyone else had them.
Introducing not just me, but really, I think, America.
It was really important for someone like him to be able to say, this is hip. And in his weird, quiet little way, just vibe it, and it was hip.
I was a Rodney kid. I was a glitter kid. I was hanging out on the strip every night.
Music, pop music was a lot more special and secret, and liking bands and knowing groovy bands and unusual bands was a lot like being part of a real secret club.
We would spend hours getting ready, but we would spend hours like clipping our hair, hoping that we would look like mental patients, you know? We were wearing tube tops as skirts with ripped fishnets. There were mirrors on the wall, and there are pictures of us like going, you know, that's what we would do. We would dance in front of the, you know, and stick our tongues out and very hedonistic sort of, you know, and we were so beautiful and so young.
People came, like Keith Moon would come there, and Led Zeppelin.
You'd see Bowie, and you'd see Iggy, Mark Bolan, or you'd see Gary Glitter.
Actually, Elvis dropped into.
Elvis,
Remember that?
Yes, Elvis came. Everybody came.
Elvis came in there with his
team.
DEA badge
with
and
his whole team.
and a bag of Percodan.
I, like everybody else, was on Quaaludes and drinking and projectile vomiting, you know, puberty, 1970s style.
The dance floor was as big as Pamela's coffee table, but there was a VIP booth, you know, with one table in it. You know what I mean? It was so cute, with like a velvet rope separating you from the other three people that were in the joint. You know? The other three people happened to be Iggy Pop and, you know, Bowie and, you know, and Elvis. But it was a hell of a membership. But I mean, literally, the booth was so tiny, wasn't it? And like the ritual of like going into this VIP, opening the velvet rope, being hustled in, and then you sat down and.
You were 2 feet away from everyone else.
Yeah, it was
but
ludicrous.
At least you were in there, though.
Yeah,
with
but
the
that was so
crowd.
reflective of Rodney's character, wasn't it? That like there was hierarchies.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, the in crowd.
Rodney was one of the people that would sweep through in an entourage and head for the backstage with passes and chicks and fabulous clothes, and we'd be, you know, pressed up against the speaker thing, busily losing our hearing.
Robert Plant says, this guy here gets more girls than I do. Robert Plant said Rodney was more of a sex symbol than he was. And he's probably right.
Said you done me since you were 13. Make you giggle as you hear inside. Oh, do ya know my name? Do I look the same? Baby, I got to tell you, I'm the one you want. Everybody knows I'm the one you need, yeah.
It was far more hedonistic, I think. I mean, it was sort of... I only remember the sex. I don't remember anything else about LA at all, frankly.
I mean, he just walked out the door and women screamed and girls brought you food and they drove when you were around.
Yes, yes.
And they brought their girlfriends over and they kept the boyfriends away and the fathers and the brothers. And all you did was lay there and you'd have to eat all the time just to keep it up. But you know what's funny about male cocks? No matter how tired you are, you can always get it up for a new naked girl.
Kim Fowley is an absolute beast. I think he's a very dangerous man, extremely dangerous man. And he should definitely not be working with anyone that's under 18 because he's breaking the law, trust me.
He had always put together some little Sunset Boulevard runaway and say, okay, we're going to make a girl band. You're going to be a star.
And then, I mean, Kim, I'm just going to tell you the truth. This man would force us to sit in a hotel room while he had sex with girls. And then when I got sick enough of it, I stood up to leave, and he'd say, "Down, dog." And that's when I just said, "Fuck you, you sicko."
No, I don't think so. I was sexually abusive to the whole universe. I wouldn't limit it to any one person.
I think that basically Kim Fowley used Rodney for everything that he could.
It's almost like a drug dealer, except Rodney was dealing girls. Not in the sense of a pimp or anything, but that the power that a dealer has, you know, that you know everybody is your friend because you're holding the coke. It was the same with Rodney. He just had access to these beautiful, beautiful little nubile girls with stars on their faces, you know. Coupled with his enthusiasm for the act's, you know, genuine, you know, musical ability and style and glamour and so on, he also, you know, had this extraordinary posse of pussy.
And when he left for Los Angeles, did you hear from him?
Not for quite a while.
Not for years, a few years.
His mother, I would contact his mother, where he is. I didn't, in fact, I didn't even know he'd gone for quite a while.
We basically knew that he was down there, but we hadn't heard from him for quite a while. And of course, you know, we were concerned and we were worried about him.
Did you ever consider going to Hollywood yourselves?
No. Because I had my daughter and he had his son, so we were already, you know, we had responsibilities and we didn't think of, I didn't want any part of it. No, I just wanted a home and a child. And
I think she would have been the star in Hollywood.
Well, I love to sing Western songs, yeah, I did.
She's always been a beautiful girl.
Thank you. That's the first time I heard that in 47 years. He's not very complimentary, really.
Yeah, when I call my dad, tell him it'll be late.
See, Rodney was I was a thrown-away child. I mean, your mother dropped you off and my mother dropped me off years ago. When you come to Hollywood kind of by yourself, you learn how to read trouble. My own mother had gotten bored with me years before. And so I got put in one of those foster home kind of things. And then I started hanging out by myself.